What I found in my research is that there's a series of qualities that self-made millionaires have. If you have these qualities, your success is virtually guaranteed. The first is to develop a clear sense of direction. You can't hit a target that you can't see. You've got to know what you want in every area of your life. And number two is determine the price you're going to have to pay to get it, and then resolve to pay that price. Now let me give you a quick exercise, which is my only take-home or homework exercise for our time together. I want you to take a piece of paper like this and write down 10 goals that you'd like to accomplish in the next 12 months. Write the word goals in today's date at the top of the page. Write down 10 goals you'd like to accomplish, and then ask yourself this great question. If you could only accomplish one goal on this list, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on your life? Now, this is a great question because it will usually jump out at you. You'll say, that's the one. If I had this, that would have more of an impact on my life than anything else. Put a circle around that goal and then turn the page over and write it at the top of the page. Set a deadline on the goal. Make a list of everything that you could think of to do to achieve the goal, and then begin working on your list. And here's the kicker. Do something every day. Do something every day that moves you one step forward towards your major goal. I promise to you that this exercise, selecting your most important goal, making a plan, and working on it every day, will change your life in ways that you cannot imagine. It is the secret to becoming a self-made millionaire. I promise to you, as a week, a month, a year from now, you'll look back and you'll be absolutely staggered. These successful people look for the solution to every problem. They don't allow themselves to become upset and angry. When something goes wrong, they say, okay, what's the solution? And they become intensely solution-oriented. When you have a very intense problem, that stimulates creativity to solve the problem. So what you do is you write and define the problem clearly. If you have a problem, you say, wait a minute, what is my problem? What is it that I'm worried about? And write it down. And the very act of defining a problem clearly often triggers the solution to the problem.
About 5 years ago, I met a wise and wealthy man who had spent his entire life studying success, and he'd reached a clear conclusion concerning the reason for success in life and especially in business. He's dead now, but I'll never forget what he told me.
He said, Brian, he said, it's simple. He said, use proven success methods. He said, learn from the experts. He said, Brian, you'll never live long enough to learn it all for yourself. If you want to be successful in starting a business, then you study what people have learned, and everything that people have learned, they've written down or shared in seminars or put onto audio programs. So what I find is that successful people are those who learn from others who've gone before them. Unsuccessful people try to make it all up, like a cook going into the kitchen, taking ingredients out of the cupboards, throwing them all in a bowl, and wondering why it doesn't taste good. This is why 20% of businesses in any industry make all the profits, why 20% of the professionals in any service make 80% of the money, and so on. It's because they follow proven success principles.
Remember, one new idea is all you need to start a fortune. And within every single person here, you have 4 ideas, an average of 4 ideas per year driving to and from work, any one of which will make you a fortune. Any one of which will make you wealthy.
The next key to becoming a self-made millionaire is to get around the right people. This is a key for becoming a self-made millionaire. Why? Dr. David McCullough and Harvard did studies for 25 years looking into why it is that some people succeeded greatly in life. What he found was as much as 99% of your success in life is going to be determined by what he called your reference group. Your reference group are the people with whom you habitually associate. Next is refuse to consider the possibility of failure. The rule is this, is there's no such thing as failure, there's only feedback. To become a self-made millionaire, you're going to fail over and over again, year after year after year. But your brain has a cybernetic mechanism, which means that every time you try something, you get feedback, which makes you smarter. And when you try something else, you get feedback, which makes you smarter. And eventually you reach the point where you're too smart and you stop making mistakes. One great rule to you, which has been discovered in interviewing self-made millionaires. Self-made millionaires look into every failure for something good. They say there's got to be something good in this that I can benefit from, and surprise, surprise, they always find it. Second is self-made millionaires always seek the valuable lesson in every setback or obstacle or temporary failure, and they always find the lesson. Now, what do failures do? Think about what they've lost and blame their problems on someone else. Successful people say, what can I learn from this that will make me smarter next time? Now, what I discovered, which changed my life and which brought us here today, is I discovered the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect, sowing and reaping, action and reaction, is the great universal or higher law of the universe. What it says is that everything happens for a reason. One of the great rules of success is that if you do what other successful people do over and over again until it becomes a habit, nothing in the world can stop you from getting the same results that they do. The great principle is that thoughts are causes. Your thoughts determine what happens in your life, and the conditions of your life are effects. Next is be prepared to climb from peak to peak. One of the keys to becoming a self-made millionaire is to realize that life is never one continuous train. It's always up and down. So it goes up. Like if you climb a mountain peak, you have to go down into the valley before you climb the next peak. So all of life is cycles and trends. We say this is that life is 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Successful people focus on the 2 steps forward, and then they protect themselves on the downside. They build up cash reserves. They put in stop-loss orders on their stock market. They very carefully watch what they're doing, so they try to maintain that 2 steps up and then make sure that the 1 step back is not so far, and then they want to make sure that this curve is generally upward, so that each time there's a step back, they're still further ahead than they were before. Develop resilience and bounce back. You're going to be knocked down over and over again, and what we know is, my friend Charlie Jones says, is you have to bounce, don't break. Well, here's the rule, is all of life is a continuous series of problems. To accept responsibility and say, I am where I am and what I am because of myself. You cannot imagine a leader weeping, whining, crying, and making excuses. The reason that people don't succeed is because they have excuses to the greatest discovery of all, which is that you become what you think about most of the time.
Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you ever make in your entire life.
So what do you think about most of the time? I've worked with Tom Stanley and Bill Danko, and Tom Stanley and Bill Danko are the ones who wrote The Millionaire Next Door. And Bill Danko did most of the heavy lifting. He did 25 years of detailed research, surveys, analysis, attending meetings, and so on, to find out how self-made millionaires think most of the time with regard to money. And you know what they think about most of the time with regard to money? They think in terms of financial independence. This is the word that will guarantee that you'll get onto the fast track in life, you'll increase your income at a more rapid rate than the average person, how you take complete control of your life. And the word is how. Now, when you ask the question how, it's like stepping on the accelerator of your own creative mind, and you throws off ideas. And the interesting thing is, they did a study at Harvard. They found that the greatest single predictor of success, especially financial success in life, is creativity. And creativity is designed by the number of ideas you come up with. And you'll find that the more ideas you come up with, because of the law of probabilities, the more likely it is you'll come up with a great idea. Now, this brings me to what we call the X factor. Now, the X factor is one of the most important things I ever learned. The X factor is the key to your success. Sometimes we call this the focal point. Determine where you are going to write the X in each area of your life. Where do you create what is called the point of intensity? And what we know is that an X factor can be one of 3 things. It can be a goal, or it can be a measure. It can be a number, or it can be an activity. And the first critical area of life that I need to talk about is what is called, it has to do with income. This is really important to understand, is the average person who works for a living thinks about their income in terms of how much they earn in a year or a month. What top people think about is not annual, but hourly. Breakthrough concept is called the law of 3. And the law of 3 is the key to doubling your income. The law of 3 says that in your practice, in any field, there's only 3 things that account for 90% of your income. The optimists have 3 wonderful qualities. Number 1 is they learn more things. As a result, they dramatically increase the likelihood that they will learn the right thing at the right time. Number 2 is they try more things, which dramatically increases the likelihood that they'll try the right thing at the right time. And number 3 is they persist. They never give up. Optimists make a decision that once they've decided they're going to become wealthy, they just never stop until they achieve that goal. Now, will they have many setbacks and obstacles and difficulties? You know that almost everybody succeeds in a different direction from what they originally intended or from what they originally thought, but they just keep going. Almost like a football player running down the field, running, blocking, changing, moving back, forward, continuing, but never loses sight of the goal. The quality of self-discipline. It's the ability to make yourself do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. The quality of self-discipline is the quality that will make you a big success. It's the ability to force yourself to do what you know you should do. And here is the wonderful discovery. This persistence is self-discipline in action. Every time you persist, you build your self-discipline. Every time you practice self-discipline, you build your ability to persist. And the two of them are tied into your self-esteem. So the more you persist, the more you like yourself. And the more you like yourself, the more discipline you have. And the more discipline you have in practice, the more you like yourself. As a result, the more you persist. And eventually you get onto an upward spiral where you become absolutely unstoppable.